And joining us now is Bicol Saro Party List Representative Terry Ridon. Congressman, thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good umaga.
All right, Congressman, let's get right to it. No, you said VP Sara's response failed to directly address yung allegations. Now, can you elaborate what points were left unanswered?
Well, una sa lahat, it is a non-answer talaga yun, ano? Kasi they were complaining about due process violations. And secondly, ang sabi ho nila, the complaints daw po did not state ultimate facts, no?
Okay.
Una, yung pong due process violations, ito pong proseso ng kanila pong pagsagot. Yan po yung proseso ng due process, no? So, nagsumagot po sila and I don't think meron po nga nalabag po na proseso po dito, no? Yun yung una. Pangalawa, yun po sinasabi nilang wala akong stinate ng ultimate facts. Review ko yung complaints, tinignan ko yung proceedings ho ng komite. Pinag-usapan ho doon yung misuse of confidential funds. Pinag-usapan ho doon yung death threats against the President, the former House Speaker, and the First Lady. Pinag-usapan ho doon yung mga silent questions and unexplained wealth ng ating pong pangalawang Pangulo. So what are they saying na wala pong binabanggit na ultimate facts? Ito po yung mga bagay na papatunayan in the course of proceedings and in the course of trial. No? So kaya nga malinaw ho na paglilihis po ito na naman at hindi pagsagot doon po sa mga paratang po ng impeachment complaints.
Congressman, since they did not directly answer yung mga charges against them or reply, then do we still need a reply from those who filed the impeachment case? Because it's more of a challenge of the process rather than the charges against them.
Siyempre, yung pong pagkakataon ay bibigay pa rin po natin sa mga complainants, endorsers, no, to be able to reply. But we will wait for them, no, kung how they will look at the non-answer of the Vice President. But again, hindi ho talaga sinagot ng pangalawang Pangulo, point per point, no, yung pong grounds on culpable violation of the Constitution, betrayal of public trust, other high crimes, no. So basically, talaga pong walang laman yung pong answer ad cautelam po ng pangalawang Pangulo.
And for a clearer picture lang po for our audience, Congressman, after po maka-reply back ang complainants ng within 3 days, what's going to happen then?
Meron pong pagkakataon ang pangalawang Pangulo na makapag-file po ng rejoinder. No? But in the event, for example, na hindi ho sasagot, no, yung pong mga complainants, endorsers, we can immediately proceed to a determination of sufficiency in grounds and then to hearing proper po.
Ayun. And of course, some have raised concerns about this, yung handling daw po nitong complaint against VP Sara. Actually, yung camp din niya nagsabi na parang may double standard. It's different the way the way the House of Representatives handled yung impeachment complaint against the President as compared to her impeachment complaint. Your reply on that?
Hindi rin totoo. Kasi una sa lahat, hindi naman ho pwedeng pagkumpara yung President's impeachment and yung pong Vice President's impeachment. Kasi una sa lahat, yung pong President's impeachment, puro mga news articles po yung laman nung pong complaints po na yun. Ito po complaint against the Vice President, ang pinag-usapan po at documentation po dito, co-reports, congressional records, at yung pong public documents available, like yung pong salin ni Vice President, and lastly, yung pong public record po na kanya pong death threat, no, against the President, the First Lady, and the former House Speaker. So, in terms of the evidence, magkaiba po yung pong sa impeachment po ng Pangulo at ng pangalawang Pangulo. So, there is no basis to compare and therefore there is no basis to conclude that two separate standards were implemented in those impeachments.
Well, technically, yun nga po na, banggit nyo na nga po na in one of your interviews, na picture complete na yung mga evidence, no, against Vice President Duterte on her impeachment complaint, yung may video na po, no, doon sa kanyang threat against the President before, and of course, meron na rin pong, the panel has already received a report from Commission on Audit regarding po the confidential funds. Yung ano po, paano po yung sa Madriaga factor? Can you explain that to us? Paano po yung, paano papasok itong Madriaga factor na to sa ebidensya against the Vice President?
Well, yung pong SALN saka yung pong Madriaga, these are the new evidence in the proceedings. No? So Mr. Madriaga will be asked to appear before the committee and give truth to his affidavit. No? So meron pong mga binabanggit po kasi doon, particularly for example, yung pong mga release po ng mga kaperahan through yung mga duffel bags. No?
Right.
So yun po yung basically implementation daw po ng confidential funds. No? So we would want to know how that actually happened. No? So yun po yung extent ng Madriaga affidavit na relevant po to the impeachment. But we will still have to, syempre, test his credibility as well. No? And this is to answer also yung pong concerns ng ilang mga kasama natin sa Kongreso na dapat po talaga fully vetted si Mr. Madriaga pagka sinalang sa atin pong komite.
Yan, Kong, meron several legal experts who have said na the way that the Vice President replied daw, challenging again the process at this early point in the stage pa lang sa committee level, seems like they might set up something to the tune of going to the Supreme Court once again. Can the Supreme Court challenge or look into how you are conducting the determination of substance and form?
Well, to be clear po, syempre, in every stage of the proceeding naman po, malaya naman po ang pangalawang Pangulo, if she feels aggrieved, to go to the Supreme Court, no, to challenge po yung pong mga ginagawa po ng ating pong komite in the course of her impeachment. But secondly, again, ito po is solely the province of Congress at this point. No? And I'm quite certain we had been very careful in really implementing all the new rules that the Supreme Court wanted us to implement, particularly po yung po mga due process considerations. And I think we had been faithful to it up until this point and moving forward.
Well, taking this opportunity to ask you na rin, Congressman, regarding doon sa naging statement ng NUP through their spokesperson, Congressman Puno, na mukhang magkakaroon ng paghihiwalay sa majority dahil daw po doon sa issue ng delay ng pag-distribute ng infrastructure and social protection funds or budget sa Kongreso. Meron po bang ganun talaga na kumbaga hindi pa daw po na ibibigay ng mga budget?
Well, hindi ako privy to that particular question. Pero I think what is more important at this point for Congress and for the nation would be yung pong mga accountability measures that we are doing, like in the impeachment, and yung pong economic relief measures which Speaker Boji D had directed us to do. No? Particularly ito pong removal ng excise taxes on petroleum products.
Right.
No? So I think ito po yung focus ng Kongreso ngayon at all of these concerns relating to the implementation of projects is best coursed to the executive agencies kasi sila naman po yung implementing agencies.
Right.
Nung po nga budget po natin, hindi po ba?
And moving forward, Congressman, what can the public expect with regards to when will this impeachment complaint go up to plenary, if ever? When will it be dismissed, if ever? Yung timeline po nito.
So, yung pong timeline is very fluid, no? So, it is dependent also on whether a reply will be made kasi it will also depend on whether a rejoinder will be made. No? So, we will wait for the complainants' endorsers today and tomorrow on what they will do. No? But as soon as we go into hearing proper, our expectation po is will be done by around May and we can have a vote at the plenary by around the middle to the end of May po.
Oo. Well, mahabol ko lang kung kaya ko po naitanong kanina tungkol doon sa statement ng NUP because I was wondering kung naiisip niyo po may connection din po ito doon sa sinasabi nila na maaring hindi nilang, although they voted in favor doon sa sufficient and form and substance ng impeachment complaint against the Vice President, meron po silang kaakibat na warning na sinasabi po nila na dapat daw po talaga merong direct na talagang ebidensya against the Vice President. Your thoughts on that po?
Well, syempre, they have my respect, no? Our colleagues in NUP. But again, I'm quite certain that the committee has been able to do what it needs to do, no, to show strong evidence on SALN, on the death threats, on confidential funds. I think very clear po yung basis as to why the Vice President should be impeached, no? And they had been stating that they had voted on substantiality in the previous proceeding. I'm quite certain when it goes to plenary, the committee will be able to show that the evidence against the vice president on each and every ground will be strong, and that we have new evidence. And yung hinahanap po nilang new evidence, it actually exists today. The SALNs and yung po mga hinihingi po natin mga ITRs and bank records of the Carpio Duterte couple and yung kanila pong business records will form part of the new evidence because that is the 50 million wealth gap which the Vice President should be able to explain. The gap between the 88 million 2024 net worth and yung pong cumulative salary niya over the course of 17 years na dapat mga 30 to 40 million lang po. No? So, I think these are sufficient enough to convince our colleagues that the impeachment proceeding has strong evidence.
Alright, on that note, maraming salamat po muli sa inyong oras sa Bicol Saro Party List Representative Terry Ridon. Good morning.
Maraming salamat. Magandang umaga.